I'm Dee Chikwendu, and welcome to Faith in the Valley. This is a space where I share open, honest reflections about my own journey of recovery, healing, hope and faith. So every Wednesday I share poetic reflections. These are original poems and words that I've written in the middle of going through pain or fear or moments of hope and faith. So if you're going through your own valley right now, I hope that each poem meets you gently and that you enjoy and take hope and encouragement from these words. So without further ado, come and take a walk with me. Let's pause together. See you soon. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Faith in the Valley with Dee. For those of you who are new here, welcome, and wherever you are in the world, I hope that you are well. So there are moments in life where we can feel like we're surrounded by lots and lots of people, and yet it feels like we feel completely unseen. And there are moments when the weight of the pain or the fear, it can wrap so tightly around us at times, especially when we're going through a period of healing or recovery from an unexpected injury or a situation, or maybe a breakdown of a relationship. And sometimes it can feel like it's impossible to breathe, or like it's impossible to see yourself travel through the situation. But you know, moments when we whisper and it can feel quiet and it feels like no one hears us and all we can do is cry. I wonder if you've ever felt that way. I know I certainly have. And so in today's poem that I've written, I capture one of those moments, and it's in reflection of what I was experiencing in the first initial stages of my unexpected back injury. And it's really about focusing on what it can feel like when you feel so alone. And it can feel this way sometimes during recovery. But the poem is also about what does happen when we look for that moment of hope. And so I hope that this is going to be a form of encouragement to all of you. I think this is one of the most personal poems that I've written, and I am raw and vulnerable and honest about how I felt at the time. And I wrote it on a night when it was my first night actually, when I was on the orthopedic ward, and I remember how much my body ached and how I felt so alone, even though there were others there on the ward. And this poem is called Alone. And if you've ever cried silently or prayed quietly, or you've just sat in stillness and sometimes you've just felt so forgotten in that moment, then I hope that this poem and that these words that I share with you help you to understand that you're not the only person who has felt this way. Feeling as lightheaded as tissue paper, the stillness of the night enveloped around me, and the stiffness of its rigidity made me feel anxious and trapped. Despite the desperate muffled cries that escaped from others around me, the tears that filled my eyes overflowed silently. The pain created panic, and raced throughout the highways of my mind, body and soul. Mixed with the tears, the newness of my situation began to take its toll. How can others be here, but I still feel all alone? All alone, wrapped up in my fear. All alone, and nothing seems to be clear. All alone and stumbling through every minute. All alone, wiping away every tear. As the darkness of the night appears to have all the control, suddenly a stirring of hope ignites my soul. I remember that the smallest light of hope cannot be hidden, even when it feels as if hope is forbidden. Am I really alone when I whisper out a prayer? Am I really alone when I feel God's presence near? Am I really alone when pain and fear attack me like a shark? Am I really alone when God's presence illuminates the dark? No, I am not alone, because God's presence rests on my lips whenever I whisper words of hope. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this poem. But for me, there's a line in this poem which still grips me every time that I read it. And that line is, how can others be here, but I still feel all alone? It's a question that many of us carry quietly, especially when we're in hospital, or we're lying awake at night, or we're feeling as though we're struggling through something and no one else seems to quite understand. They don't understand how it feels. They don't understand how you're trying to travel through. And that kind of loneliness or feeling alone isn't always about the physical presence. It's about the emotional absence. And it's real. And it's valid to feel that way, especially when you're going through something that you just didn't see coming. And the thing is, it's not the final truth. It's not the end of your story. It's not the end of my story either. Because the truth is that even in that stillness, even in that fear, there is a presence that does not leave us. God doesn't leave us. And the poem, it then turns when I remember that the smallest light of hope cannot be hidden. No matter how dark something feels, if there's hope, if there's faith, that can illuminate the darkest of moments. And that's when we can begin to feel a shift or a change in direction, especially when we can move from panic to prayer, despite the pain, despite the hurt. And sometimes even in that moment where we feel so isolated, we can experience some intimacy with God and His presence. So if you're watching today and you feel like you're in the dark, whether it's something that you've been experiencing for a long time or something that suddenly happened, it could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be spiritual. But here's the thing, I want you to know that you are not alone. You're not alone. And when you whisper, someone hears you. When you cry, someone sees those tears. And when the night feels like it's in control, when the darkness feels like it's in control, there is still light that cannot be put out. It cannot. And God's presence rests on my lips whenever I whisper words of hope. And that can be exactly the same for you. And so I hope that line reminds you, and it reminds me too, that even though our pain doesn't get cancelled out straight away, we have someone with us who can help us travel through our own journey. And so I really hope that this poem has resonated with you in some way, and that it's giving you some sort of hope. And I would really love to hear from you if you are traveling through your own valley of healing, your own space of recovery. Please do share it in the comments below. But also, if you would like for me to share your story on your behalf, I'm happy to do that too. My details are in the description below. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Faith in the Valley, where you can hear more poetic reflections from me, more stories from others, and be in a space where you can be encouraged and uplifted and find hope and healing and faith. And every Wednesday, I'll be here sharing another poetic reflection based on what it is I've been travelling through, or sometimes about how I'm feeling while I'm travelling through my own period of recovery. And until the next time, please be gentle with yourself. Please be kind to yourself. And remember, the light is still there, even in the dark. So, finally, may grace meet you wherever you are. I look forward to seeing you. I thank you for joining me today. And in the meantime, take care.